Hi, Dr. Robert here, and thank you for watching. And today I'd like to talk about the science of nutritional balancing and demystifying detoxification. And when we're talking about nutritional balancing, what I always like to do is perform a hair tissue mineral analysis. This is a great lab test because it's going to analyze 21 minerals in your body. Some of those minerals are the good minerals, some of those are the toxic minerals. So we're going to look at the macro minerals, you know, your calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium, phosphorus. We're going to look at your trace minerals, selenium, zinc, iron, copper, etc. And then we're going to look at the toxic minerals. We call them the toxic metals, your arsenic, lead, mercury, cadmium, etc. So understanding how important minerals are, because minerals really are the spark of life. Actually, magnesium is the one that actually when you light it, it truly sparkles. And these are what we call our electrolytes. So they're the electricity, where magnesium is more the magnetic force, and then we have the electrical force, and this is what's generating health, vitality, and life in our body. So understanding that, before we got into the vitamins really are the vital minerals. Minerals are the key to life, so it's so important that we assess your mineral status if we truly want to have an understanding of where you're going in your health profile. It's very predictive of many things that we're going to talk about. So just want you to know how important minerals are. It's ashes to ashes, dust to dust. That's the minerals. And so this is why we really need to know how important minerals are on our healing journey. And what causes mineral imbalances? The list is pretty much endless. It's the stress, it's the bad food, it's the toxic water, it's so many things in our life are causing mineral deficiency. Now, just knowing that our soils are depleted, so we're not getting, the carrot that you ate 100 years ago is not the carrot you're eating today. So we have mineral deficiencies. Then we have this toxic load as these heavy metals and other toxins compete with these minerals. So many reasons, numerous amounts of reasons why we have a mineral imbalance. And this is why, we should really look at this hair mineral analysis, because anyone suffering with any health condition, we need to assess your mineral status. And even if you're pretty healthy, again, this is it's going to be preemptive. It's going to allow us to see trends that are going on in the body, so we can have a deeper, clearer understanding where our health is going. So this is why I love the hair mineral analysis test. And what can a hair test reveal? Well, the first thing it's going to do, what kind of metabolic profile are you? Are you a fast oxidizer? Are you a slow oxidizer? So meaning fast oxidizer, you're burning food very quickly. A slow oxidizer, you're burning food very slowly. We don't want to be too high. Don't want to be too low. We want to be in that middle. But what we see is in our population, especially in the United States, probably 70 to 80% are slow oxidizers, and that's the fatigue, lethargy, that's the poor adrenal function, poor thyroid function. So the hair test mineral gives us the oxidation type and rate, and then it also tells us what stage of stress we're in. Selig, who wrote the book The Stress of Life, was a beautiful book and talked about the 3 stages of stress. We have the alarm stage, where the bells are ringing, letting us know that we're in a little bit of trouble, so we need to take note. If we ignore the alarm stage, the red light in the car goes off, but we ignore it, Then we go into what we call the resistance stage. And this is where we get a lot of the chronic type of things going on. You're not feeling well, your energy is low, your thinking is unclear, you're losing that oomph in your step. And so life is becoming more tedious as a result of being in this resistance stage. And this is the area of chronicity that I see daily. And as we leave the resistance stage, then we go into the full exhaustion stage. And in that exhaustion stage, that's when we really start to develop the full-fledged diseases that we label. So this hair test gives us the oxidation type, it tells us the stages of stresses we're in, and it also tells us about heavy metal toxicity. This is one of the best tests to determine our levels of heavy metals. It also tells us the function of our liver and kidneys. And the toxins, because the blood is filtering through the liver and kidneys every 3 minutes. And so a lot of the toxins will be taken up in the tissues, in your hair being a tissue. So it's like doing a cell biopsy without having to cut your skin to get a biopsy. It's just cutting your hair. So it's very indicative of the metabolic things that are going on in your body. It also gives us a profile of our nervous system balance, our carbohydrate tolerance, our protein synthesis. It's really just gives us a nice spot view on the adrenal and thyroid profile. So the hair test reveals so many things that it even can tell us about our chakra system. You say, well, how can a hair test tell you about a chakra system? Well, if you see a lot of calcium elevated, calcium is that sacral base. So that's the first chakra. So we can see, from an energetic point of view, what chakra is off. We can see, if it's calcium that is in excess or deficiency, what we see is a lot of excess calcium being spilled into the tissues. And this reveals that maybe we have a problem with, astrologically looking at the planet Saturn. Saturn rules the bones, and so we see this calcification in bones as a Saturn energy. So maybe it's the Capricorns, or maybe it's the opposite in Cancer. So we can see many things from this hair test, not just the physiology, but we can see the energy too. And so it's the interpretation of this hair test that's a very powerful interpretation to give me insight into what's going on with my patients metabolically. So why hair analysis instead of blood, urine, saliva, x-rays? Because the hair is really, it's taking a sample of a spot period of about 3 months. So when we do a blood, that's just a quick overview of what's going on at that very minute in time, where the hair is giving us truly a 3-month period, a window of opportunity of seeing what's been going on. It's really the hair cell biopsy, because the cells are located within the hair, will provide information from the deepest level of metabolism where most problems begin. Cells are the major site of metabolic activity, not the blood or urine. Hair tests will reveal imbalances long before health ailments signs rise in the blood or elsewhere in the body. Great tool for helping me kind of see what's going on in your body. So I really love using this test as an amazing tool to understanding your health status, mineral status, heavy metal toxicity, and this gives me a clear indication of where we need to go. What indicators on a hair test show adrenal activity? So, for example, this was the latest test that I just did. Now I have the patient's name blocked out, and you can see just by looking at this test, we see that we have the calcium and magnesium ratios are very high, and we have the sodium and potassium ratios are very low. Right there, that tells me that this patient is a slow oxidizer. So as they're a slow oxidizer, we want to look at some of the other ratios. So how do we know about the thyroid? We look at the calcium-potassium ratio, because that's the thyroid ratio. Then we can look at the adrenal ratio, which is the sodium-magnesium ratio, and that's the adrenal ratio. So This test gives us great indicators of what's going on with our glandular health, with the way we're taking in the vital minerals and how they're being utilized or not utilized in an efficient way. So when I see that high calcium, that also tells me that the excessive calcium in the body isn't being absorbed appropriately in the cells, and so it's spilling out, and so this calcium is depositing into the joints that we call arthritis, being deposited into the brain that we call our Alzheimer's, our senility, our dementias. That calcium deposits are being leached into the heart vessels that we call our arterial sclerosis. It could be in the eyes, the calcium deposits in the eyes that we call our cataracts. So when we start to see this excessive calcium ratios, we know we're in trouble. We know that we have to start balance out, because magnesium regulates calcium. Magnesium is the quarterback, and all the other minerals are, you know, the linemen or the running backs or the receivers, but know that magnesium runs the show. It's the conductor in this orchestra. So understanding the importance of the calcium magnesium ratios, and understanding the other ratios, so we can get to the level of what's going on in the body. So when I'm analyzing a test, I look at different ratios, I look at different patterns, and it gives me insight. So I know that this patient of mine, when I see that her calcium and potassium ratios are off the roof, and then I see that her sodium potassium ratios, that's her vitality, is okay. So she's got vitality, but we know that her thyroid and her adrenals are really shot. And so this patient of mine has a history of Hashimoto's, of adrenal insufficiency, and this test is so indicative of where the minerals are coming into play and how we can start scientifically using this knowledge to help balance out the minerals, so then the minerals can fix the adrenals, fix the thyroid, to get balance in the body. So this is why I really love this hair mineral analysis test, because it gives me insight to what's going on. So, you know, I talked about the heavy metals that we're being exposed to. There's many other toxins, but you know, part of my program is detoxification. I've been, you know, many videos in the past, I've talked about detoxification. I've talked about it has to be the mantra. If you're not detoxifying your body, you will not get healthy. We live in the age of toxicity. We've been exposed to God knows how many zillions and trillions of chemicals, about 100,000 chemicals that we know of. You know, different reports say different things, but at least 100,000 chemicals have been basically inundated our world that we have to deal with. So if there's a problem, there's always a solution, but knowing how to detox is one of the keys. And we just don't have chemical and heavy metal problems. We also have what we call biological toxins. You know, those are your viruses, your bacteria, your nanobacterias, your prions, your fungal infections. So we have to understand that and put that into the equation. Then we have other toxins. Those other toxins are emotional toxins, our anger, our jealousies, our resentment, our bitterness. We have to purge all that out, because all of this is part of the healing journey. So we need to detoxify. And today I just want to talk about when we're detoxifying, we have to understand an important concept. If we're mineral vitamin deficient, these heavy metals are going to come in. When we have the right minerals in our body, it will push out a lot of these heavy metals. And also to understand, sometimes these heavy metals pinch hit for a deficient nutrient. So for example, if we're deficient in, let's say, zinc, zinc has about 400 enzymatic functions in the body, second to magnesium, in its importance of how many functions enzymatically that it does. So if you're deficient in zinc, and you have high levels of cadmium, cadmium will come in and pinch hit for zinc. It does it in a very interesting way because on one level, that zinc deficiency will repair, or zinc will help repair your arteries. Now, if you have a deficient in zinc and you start to get holes in your arterial walls, that cadmium comes in and patches up the hole in your wall so you don't bleed to death. But too much of that cadmium eventually clogs that artery that it's fixing. So it saves you quickly, but kills you in the long run. And this cadmium toxicity is so prevalent in our culture. Anyone that smokes, I guarantee they have a cadmium toxicity. And cadmium is so detrimental to the brain. It changes the personality and the chemistry of our brain. It could take the most mild-mannered person and turn them into a raving lunatic. It brings out the temper tantrums, changes the personality. And look at the smokers. When you start seeing smokers, my brother was a smoker, and watching him smoke through the years, I saw his violent temper tantrums exploding. I saw him with the embolisms and the heart disease and the heart attacks. I witnessed this firsthand. And when you start to understand that these heavy metals have to be detoxed intelligently, because if you pull out the cadmium too quickly, too fast, the patient may crash and burn if you're not coming in with the zinc and the other minerals and nutrients. So this is why when we detoxify, we have to put in the right nutrient mineral combinations. We have to also address these heavy metals and these other chemicals. And I'm going to talk about two of my all-time favorite therapies. Benefits of the coffee enema. Now, when I bring this up, people look at me, all right, doc, you're drinking the Kool-Aid. This is too intense for me. I like drinking my coffee, but it ain't going in that direction. Let me tell you one thing about this coffee enema. Max Gerson, the most famous cancer doctor that we know, he had people doing the juices, the enzymes, he had them on some of the most amazing protocols. So the cancer tumors got all this nutrient in, and as the cancer cells started to break down, it didn't have an exit. It didn't have a portal to get all this garbage out. And so the tumor debris, this malignant tumors that were starting to degrade and break down, so the DNA fragments and all this dead cell stuff couldn't come out the body. So he was losing his patients right and left because the portals of elimination were backed up. The liver and the kidneys, also the colon. So when we look at the liver, when those liver ducts are not patent, all that garbage that we're trying to get out through phase 1, phase 2 liver detoxification, if those portals of elimination are blocked, this junk will accumulate in your body. Then you go into either renal failure or hepatic failure, liver or kidney failure. And this is what takes the patient out, because the German doctors always had a saying, you don't die of cancer, you don't die of heart disease, you die of renal failure and liver failure. So the importance of opening up the ducts in the liver is key, and the coffee enema is just one of my all-time favorite therapies. Personally, since I've been doing the coffee enemas, never felt better. And I'm trying to do one a day, and that's really part of my regimen. And I've been doing this for many years, so I probably have thousands of coffee enemas under my belt. And since doing it, feel like my goal, live to 123, never be sick a day in my life, and have the vibrant energy to do everything that I love doing. That's my goal, and you may not be at my level, and that's fine, but my goal is to teach you how to take these baby steps so you can take your health to that next level, because health is truly wealth. And what I bring to the table is some time-tested ways of detoxifying the body using nutritional science balancing to help balance out the mineral vitamin ratios in the body so we can detox. So the coffee enema detoxifies the liver, the chemistry in the coffee, the palmitic acids, they dilate the ducts in the liver. That's the beauty of this. So if those ducts are closed, the garbage, the bile is not going to move out, the limes, the bacteria, the fungi, the heavy metals. So the importance of the dilation of the hepatic system is so key. The coffee enemas, they purify the blood. They're involved in stimulating the chemistry in the coffee, stimulate the enzyme glutathione transferase, which increases your glutathione. And remember, glutathione is the mother of all antioxidants. It's the master detoxification molecule in the body. And so the coffee chemistry churns on the enzyme to turn on glutathione. That's a winner. It strengthens the colon. Again, the other portal of elimination is the colon. Our colons are toxic. We have so many parasites in there and bacteria and just this mucus sludge is in our colon. So the coffee enema cleans out the colon. But again, my main emphasis is getting to the liver. So this is one of my all-time favorite things. And this picture brings home the message. This is just a snapshot of one cell in your liver. And it's showing this hepatic duct system. All these things, all the garbage has to come through this hepatic biliary system, and that's going to dump it into the small intestine. Small intestine is going to dump it into the large intestine, out the toilet. That's where we want it, out of the body. People say, oh, that's disgusting. What's disgusting is when these heavy metals and these bacteria and fungus are staying in your body, because that's your disease. When it's coming out, yes, it may be disgusting, it may be a little bit stinky, smelly, whatever, but thank God it's coming out. So we need to really get over our phobias and fears of some of the most important ways to detoxify the body, and that's the coffee enema. So I don't want to go into the how-to on the coffee enema, but just to let you know the importance of really having strategies to start including coffee enemas in your daily practices when we're dealing with detoxification. Here's another one of my favorite ways to detox. You want to get these heavy metals out, you got to sweat. The infrared therapy penetrates deep into the fat tissue to release a lot of these toxins. So when we're dealing with sweat, we have the water solubles, part of it, and then we have the fat soluble from the oil glands. And when those oil glands are purging out the petrochemicals, beautiful. Sometimes more of the heavy metals will come out through the water portion, but some will come out through the oil portion. In the infrared sauna, it'll get to probably like on average about 120 degrees, so you can sit in there comfortably, breathe normally as these infrared lights are penetrating right into you. And why do you see so much obesity in this country? So when I see obesity, I know the toxins are going into the fat, because you don't want those toxins in your nervous tissue, your brain or your heart or into your bones, although they do end up there, but they first go into the fat because fat insulates and protects. So it's insulating and protecting you from some of these harsh chemicals and metals that are keeping you alive, because this is why we see such an obesity epidemic, because we have a toxicity problem in this country. The titans of industry with all their runoffs and polluting this and polluting that, it's going somewhere and it's precipitating back into us through the food, water, and air, and we're taking that in. And again, using the coffee enemas, using the infrared sauna, using nutritional science balancing, so we can have tools and protocols and strategies to deal with this age of toxicity. So I just wanted to bring your attention to some of the things that I employ at my office, and love using the hair mineral analysis, because that gives me great insight. I'll use other tests, of course, but that one, for the money, that's one of the best. And I'm just like, through the years of using it, I keep going more and more to the hair mineral analysis test as I'm kind of getting away from the other tests, because I see the benefits so much more in the hair tissue mineral analysis. And again, my message always is, get healthy the old-fashioned way. You can't poison yourself. You have to be aware of what's the poisons coming in so you can resist them, so you have a knowledge of, not so good, the good stuff. And then you have the strategies of getting the garbage out. So I hope this video was helpful, and again, as always, thank you for watching my videos and look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.